Hi, I'm Mora. Welcome to Smileys. Tonight we have a special episode for you with not one, not two, but three Malazan guest fans. As always, I'm joined by my co host Lee. Hi, Lee. Do you want to introduce our guests?
Hello, Mara. I'm joined tonight by Wes, Try, and Baronian. All three are mods in the Malazan subreddit. Would you gents like to introduce yourselves before I do it?
Sure. I'm a sub. I'm a mod. I'm U slash Soxboys 420. It's a silly, goofy name. But yeah, that's me.
So, hey, Wes. Welcome.
Yeah, and I'm Trionus, also referred to as Try. I also moderate the subreddit, and happy to be here.
Glad to have you, Try.
I'm Baronian. I'm a long-time reader and loving the series, so I was happy to become a mod. And I'm very happy to be here to join for this talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you all. So before we begin, we're just going to have a casual chat. Just keep it light, and we're not going to get into any huge details or anything. So it's just a casual conversation. And spoilers, I think we will limit to the 10 books, only the Book of the Fallen. I think all of us have read more than that, but we'll just stick to the 10 books, right? So do you guys want to just tell me how exactly did you get into Malazan? What drew you to it, or what sold you to it? How did you pick it up?
Yeah, so I had read, or I've been reading fantasy for a long time, and my best friend, he came up to me one day. He'd picked up Gardens because we both worked at Barnes and Noble together, and he came up to me and he's like, "Dude, you have to read this. This is going to be your favorite book." So we kind of started it together at the same time, and I don't know, the very even before I knew it was came out of Esselmont in Erickson's D&D days and stuff. There was just a real D&D feel to it, which as someone who's also played a lot of D&D, that really appealed to me. And also as somebody who wants to be a writer and who also, I also major in philosophy. Erickson, he's not only a phenomenal writer, but he also goes into a lot of philosophical places that are really interesting, that really just drew my attention. So the more I got into Malazan, the more obsessed with it I became. I got pulled to the sub because I was I have to figure out what other people are saying about this. I fell completely headlong into Malazan, finished the main 10 in 2 months or something. I blew through them super quickly. I've reread them about 3 times, including, all the extra stuff like Carcanus and everything. But yeah, it's more or less how I got into it. Was my best friend, is basically the equivalent of being gifted heroin from someone.
Try?
So much like Wes, I've always been a fantasy fan. Started with The Lord of the Rings as a kid. Got read those a billion times. Then later, as an adult, after a period of sort of not reading for a while, I started reading other fantasy stuff. Stuff like Song of Ice and Fire, Wheel of Time, stuff like that. And then one day I was actually browsing the fantasy subreddit, and there was a recommendation thread, and I was looking for something to read, and someone mentioned Malazan and said, "Oh, it's really subversive," and I was in the mood for something different. I was coming right off Wheel of Time, which is I really like it, but it's very traditional in a lot of ways, and I was ready for something different. So I picked up Gardens of the Moon. I got hooked in the epigraph for chapter 2. That's the where the poem is about. That's the poem about the 2 cities, right? That's chapter 2, I think, or is it chapter 1? That's chapter 2. I read that epigraph, and at the end there's this one line that just I read it and I was like, okay, yeah, this is me, and it's that line that goes, "The strong city fell first." I was like, okay, yeah, okay, this is setting up some stakes. I like this. And fast forward a few years, and suddenly I am moderating the Malazan subreddit. I've read the series 3 times, and yeah, no turning back.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I'm kind of came a bit late to fantasy. So I found out about it mostly through Lord of the Rings when the movies came out. So it was like, I think 2003. Yeah. I was I was, I think, 17. And I didn't know. I got the books for Christmas. Everybody was in this Lord of the Rings fever back then. And so I read them. I loved them. And then I found out that I have an aunt. Okay, I knew that I had an aunt before, but now I found out that she loved reading fantasy books. I didn't know that. And so I got a lot of books from her. And all in German. So I started reading fantasy in German. So and at some point, I explored further. Then the Song of Ice and Fire was another start. And then I realized that in Germany, they publish every English book in 2 German books. So we don't have like 5 Song of Ice, they're not 5 books, 10 books. And every German book costs a little bit more than 1 English book. So as a poor student, I said, okay, no, not with me. I have to read them in English. So I started reading in English, and I realized that it's so much better than German. Really much better. And then I found this blog. It still exists. It's, I think, Fantasy Book Blog or something, Fantasy Book Critics. I think Fantasy Book Critic Blog. And they talked about how it was a review of, I think, Tall the Hounds, so the 8th book. And they said how amazing the series is. And it sounds really, wow, I just thought I have to read this. And I read the first book, Gardens of the Moon, and it was, I don't know what's happening here, but it's kind of interesting. Let's go on. I don't know. I read the second book, and it was much better, but also very, very depressing. So I thought, okay. And then came the 3rd book, Memories of Ice, and I still know, and was like, this is, 12 years ago. So I still remember where I was and what I did when I read the ending of book 3. I was pacing through my apartment with the book in my hand. I couldn't sit down. I had to walk. I was reading about all the bridge burners dying, and I was so sad. It was so sad. And then I was hooked. And then I thought, okay, now I know where the series is going. And I was so wrong. As we all know, this Erickson surprises you all the time with his ambition and with he's going places you can't imagine. Yeah. And so I got really, really hooked. And as soon as I found out that there's this thing called Reddit, I joined there, looked for a book Reddit, and I loved the community there. So I got very involved, and then I also became a mod. So yeah, that's my story.
Your origin story. Yeah. So I think if I'm going to ask you your favorite books, if it's Toll the Hounds, I think you should just tell me your second favorite book, because everyone is going to pick that one. So just let me know your. Not you? Oh, good. Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, go on, Wes. If it's Toll the Hounds, fine. I'll accept
Yeah.
it.
So my two favorite books of all time, spanning all genres, are Forge of Darkness and Toll the Hounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toll the Hounds topped my list, followed very closely by The Crippled God.
I often see these posts where the people rank the books. I mean, it's a favorite pastime on the Reddit, of course, and I think I can do that. I can't really rank them. I don't know how to do it. So, and for a long time, till my 3rd read of all of the series, I never had a favorite because I loved all of them for different reasons. But nowadays, I think Bone Hunters. Bone Hunters is my number 1 because there's some, I don't know why. I mean, there are, of course, some amazing scenes in it, but also so many things starting coming together. It feels like it's a turning point, and it is the turning point. We just had Midnight Heights, but we still get a new continent and new people, everything, and it really makes click, and okay, the end game started, and for that reason, right now, I think it can change, of course. Right now, this is my number 1, but only by a tiny bit, because all of them have No, I have so many great elements. So I think, but I can tell you what more the downside is that gates. It's like at the that house is at the end of my favorite
Shadows is your
list. So.
least favorite.
Yeah, I just find it too bleak often. I mean,
Yeah.
I love children are dying. There's the quote from Laura is amazing. I love that scene, but it's really, really, really brutal. And I'm glad that the series didn't continue on with that tone, that it changed. But it took some time to change. I mean, if you look at the Memories of Ice, it's also very dark in many places, but it's I don't know, it has, and the ending is very brutal, but I don't know, That House Gates was for me very difficult.
No, I think Memories of Ice was a little balanced in terms of humor, isn't it? Like we had so much of the Marines, and everyone was quite lighthearted. All those Itkovian Hetan interactions and things like that. There was a lot of levity in between. But Dead House Gates just doesn't give you a break. Lee.
I could,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I
go
just
on.
want to say that Feddersen, I've really fought with her, and the Chain of Dogs, of course, and at least the dog survived. I mean, is that a rarity we wanted or needed? The two dogs survived in the end. I mean, there's the one scene with the captain getting demoted to sergeant.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it?
Mincer, I think it
Yeah,
was.
something like that. It was.
I don't remember the names. Yeah.
Mincer? Was it?
I think it's Captain Mincer of the Sabres, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
yep.
yes. I think he got promoted to captain, wasn't that way? No, or his sergeant.
Like
What
he was
was
already a captain, and this guy makes him a sergeant or something, isn't it?
it? Yes.
Yeah.
And he feels very happy that finally I'm out of this role. I think that was the only joke. That was the single joke in the entire Dead House Gates, probably. Lee, do you want to tell us your favorite book?
Oh god, okay. So it changes, because of course it does. On the first read, I loved Memories of Ice. Then I read The Bone Hunters, and that became my favorite. And then I finished the series and I loved The Crippled God. So I can't really rank them, because, except for the fact that I don't really like the Leteri storylines in general, I like everything else. But upon retrospect, like, every book has its strengths that I appreciate, right? I recently reread House of Chains and the Midnight. I didn't love Midnight Tides on a reread, but it's still good. I really liked House of Chains on a reread, even though I didn't love it on the first read. So, and at this point, I'm going through the Bone Hunters, and I still like it. So I'm not sure, and I haven't gotten Toll the Hounds on a reread yet to say that, oh yeah, it's Toll the Hounds, because I wasn't that big a nerd when I started reading, and by the time I got to Toll the Hounds, I was like, okay, well, yeah, we'll get through this too. So I would have to say The Bone Hunters, because it's the book that stuck with me the most, followed or between that, The Crippled God, on a reread, Dead House Gates, probably. So when I get to Toll the Hounds, it'll probably be Toll the Hounds, let's be honest.
No, I agree with like Baronian. Like I've never been able to rank all these books because they're the sort of each book has its own strength and there is something to like in each one. So I've never done that. But on this reread, I'm able to see that I enjoy things which are not set in the desert, like Dead House Gates and House of Chains are I'm not enjoying them. And Bone Hunters to some extent, but I don't know. I think this week just changed my mind because it just blew me away. There was so much. The writing just picked up, isn't it? From book 6, we talk about a shift from Gardens of the Moon to Dead House Gates, but I think there is a much bigger shift once it starts with all the philosophy things, like all these discussions on civilization, and there is so much going on under the surface. And yeah, obviously on my first read, I never picked up on any of those because I just wanted to know what's happening, just the plot. So, so I don't know. I probably Memories of Ice is what has stuck with me on this reread. So let's see. It's going to change once we finish all all 10. So you guys, you've seen all this art and all these paintings and things like that which are being shared. Is there any particular scene or something that you want to see personally? Like not many people have addressed it or something. Is there any like image which is stuck in your head which you wish somebody would paint it?
To me, one of the most powerful scenes in the entire series is at the end of Bone Hunters, where they get covered in like the honey and stuff, and they all start having these really intensely hallucinogenic experiences as they're like trying to get out from underneath Yucatan. And the writing there is some of the most beautiful writing I have like personally ever read. Erickson just really taps into something really just like profoundly like melancholic. And I don't know, I've never seen anybody like talk about that scene that much. So I think it would be cool to have some sort of like, I don't know how you could present it in art other than just like separate characters and like a tapestry of what they're experiencing. But that is something I've always wanted to see explored more, is that scene in particular. Because even now, like, that is a standout in my mind of like anything I've read, is that passage or that chapter or whatever it is in Bone Hunters.
Yeah, the Godbringer honey. All of them have dreams of their respective gods. I think that would make a nice tapestry, as you say, because each one has their own vision, and I think it's only Korik who stays out of it because he doesn't have any gods visiting him. Yeah, that's a nice scene to have. Yeah. Do you have anything, Try?
So this is a difficult question because, like, first of all, there's been so many amazing pieces done of like some crazy scenes, and these books are so big that there's still like so much ground that hasn't been covered. So I was thinking about it while Wes was talking, and I would love to see, and this is a scene that has kind of been depicted really well. It's in Memories of Ice, where at the end, when Moonspawn is rising from the ocean. But I would like to see it focused on Corlat as she is grieving Wishy Jack. So it's already been depicted as in like the huge epic. I'm doing hand gestures even though I'm not on camera.
Yeah, we can't see you.
these like this like huge massive scene, really pulled back and you can see everything that's happening. But like I would love to see like a more like personal and intimate take on that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean that art was really amazing, isn't it? We had it on the sub recently because
Yeah.
that was a great way to depict Corlat, the warrior. Yeah, but as you say, the personal grief would make a lot of difference, isn't it? Like the rain mixing with her tears or something like that. Isn't that how the book describes it? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. But worded better because Erickson is is a better writer than I am, at least.
Yeah. Doronin, do you have any scene you want to see?
Yes, it's from Bone Hunters, and it's a scene on the boat. Yeah, on the boat when it's Quint and Absalom talking. They are pretending they don't know each other. It's one of my favorite scenes. It's such a small scene, but it really breaks my heart sometimes because it's like both have this huge burden on them, and then they talk and say, "Hey, I don't know what you did. I don't know who you are," and both are lying, which you don't know at the moment. The first moment you read it for the first time, you think, "Oh, they really don't know." And you as a reader know, the first time that you as a reader know something, the figures don't know. And of course, it's wrong. You know as much as they know. And I would love it. Like I have this image in my head that it's kind of dark and they're hanging, leaning to the railing of the boat, looking down or something. Yeah, so that's something I would love to see. And I also another scene which came to mind. I don't know. I can't remember, but maybe I just forgot. Do we have a one artwork of Rake killing Hood in Toll the Hounds at the end, and everybody watching? Because I imagine that could be great.
I
Someone
think so.
There
did.
is one which is called. It had a very fancy name. The whole color scheme was like pastel colors or something. That was an excellent painting. Do you remember? Do you guys?
The one I remember seeing is like the only way I can describe it, and I don't know if this will make sense to you guys, but like the kind of art that you would see on like a death metal t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's Rake like leaning his forehead against Dragdipper, and then Hood's head is on the ground like next to him.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
but there are no like. Yeah, sorry.
This is really funny. I was actually thinking about the Squint and Absoler scene. That was my first instinct as well.
That's amazing
Okay.
because there's so many great scenes in the series. Yeah, love
Yeah,
it.
it's like that. That is one of my favorite scenes in the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, we just say it's small, like page count wise, it's quite a small scene, but it has impacted all of us. So that's that's really great.
Yeah,
Lee, do
well,
you have
and
anything like? Oh, sorry, yeah,
yeah,
Gavis.
I was just gonna say, and it speaks to Erickson's writing that there's so many gigantic moments that happen in his books that something like that is like, in the grand scheme of the story, inconsequential, that like you can just gravitate to it like that. And there's so many of those too, like not just these big like convergence moments that were like, oh yeah, those are awesome, but also like the scene between Apsar and Squint, or conversations between Cotillion and Traveler on Drift of Ollie or something, like all these tiny moments just really speak to Erickson's real strength as a writer, being able to really pull you into like a microscopic moment, and then also being able to show you these, grand, very large, like over the top moments that are also incredible.
Yeah, Lee, do you have any scene like that you want to see?
So one of the most obvious ones, which I can't describe because spoilers, is the ending of Fall of Light. The very end. You know the scene. We both know the scene.
Ending
We all
of
know the scene. Fall of
I
Light.
know
Fall of Light.
exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about.
From the Book of the Fallen, what I would describe, one thing I would really like to see is like chapter 23 of the Bone Hunters, the meeting between the Imperials, because it's very conservatively described, but also very vivid in the sense that the whole scene from like the halfway point onward just describes Tavor staring Lassine dead in the eye and just talking to people, like just eye contact, and just talks to some random guy, like talks to Damber, talks to Malik, and it's just all the description is essentially how Lassine's and Tavor's eyes change from Kalam's perspective, and I just want to see that depicted because the way it's portrayed and the information that is passed between the characters at that moment is just holy shit, dude. And then obviously there's the speech from the escape from Malaz City, the speech, the unwitness speech, but that's what I want to see, just the meeting of eye contact and just the fat fuck standing on the other side, like railing against something. So, yeah.
Do you guys remember a scene in Reaper's Gale when I think Silka's Ruin is told that Rake is dead? Was it Reaper's Gale? No, it has to be Dust of Dreams, sorry. He gets the news when he's walking somewhere with Rulad, and then he just sinks to his knees, and like people look away because they're not able to see his grief. Do you guys remember that scene at all?
Yes.
Because that
Yes.
stood out to me, and that is something I would like to see. Like just to show that this broken man, because till then we really don't know that how much is Silkas actually a brother to Rake, or how much he really cares for him. And then when he just crumbles, it just changed a lot of things about his character for me. So that is something I would like to see. I mean, these are all tiny moments, isn't it? Like not any artist is going to be inspired to do stuff which concentrates on just people and their interactions and things like that. But
Yeah, but like
who
some of
knows?
the best pieces of fan art, in my opinion, are some of these like smaller, more intimate moments. Like my number one favorite piece of fan art is a piece of Rulad sitting alone in his throne room.
Is there
It's
something
just
like that? Oh, I've not
yeah,
seen.
it's an amazing piece. It's just like the atmosphere is just so it feels so lonely, and like that's a. I mean, I also love the like massive epic pieces, but
Mm-hmm.
The one with Roulette, isn't it, where he leans forward, his hands
yeah,
kind of on the knees or something, and yeah, that's really powerful. Yeah,
Oh,
remember
I've
it.
not seen that. Is it like a few years since it came out or something? Because yeah, maybe
yeah, it's been around for a while.
right.
Maybe we have to do a addition to the community resources in the subreddit with all the artwork we find, so it doesn't get lost like that.
I mean, the wiki has something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
Good. Then we just link to that.
Yeah,
I think not many people know that Boronian is like the official historian of the subreddit. He's the one in charge of preserving all this history. Even though he hates Deadhouse Gates and Duiker and all that, but that's his role here.
I studied history, so this is it's very close to my heart. So I
Oh.
hate seeing things getting lost. So that's okay. I have to say this is a part about Dead House Gates I really love because Duike watching everything as historian and writing about it. This is amazing. But I wish he had just some more happy stories to tell.
I'm
Yeah.
sure he wanted
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, allow me to tell you a joke, not allow me to tell you. Allow me to break your heart. You know.
Yeah, then that would have been our number one favorite book. Yeah. In this series with so many duos and all that, who is your favorite? Just pick one, please.
Ah, that's so tough.
I know.
I think my favorite duo in the series, I think it has to be. This is a lame one, but I think it has to be Quick Ben and Kalam. They're just like Erickson taps into a thing, and maybe this is born out of like them playing these characters in D&D or something, but you can just feel the bond between them, just even in their dialogue. Like they have this deep connection with each other that exigent like feeling mixed with Erickson's writing just makes it so like energetic and so like relatable to read their bits together, because it really just feels like when I'm hanging out with like my best friend or something like that. When I'm reading the Kalam Quick Ben parts, that's how it feels to me.
Yeah. I mean, this is not easier for me. Oh my god, this is a
You
difficult
can
question.
repeat if you want, like, it's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do love Kalam and Quickman, and I could also say Tail and Bug or
Ikiriam Mapo. Please tell me you like.
yeah. No, you know what? I'm just gonna go with Tail and Bug. They're great.
Okay.
I love them.
Right.
So you made it easy for me, Try, because now I don't choose Tiro Bug. I go for Ikarium and Mappo. It's very difficult. I think it's amazing how well Erickson writes duos. That's I love it, and it's always like there's so many duos in the whole series. And so my the top two ones are Tiro and Bug. And Quick and Ben is like a Quick and Ben and Caleb. They are number 3. But I think Ikarium and Mappo, this relationship they have, how easy they interact with each other, especially when we meet them early on, and you really notice how Mappo is there like for already, I don't know, hundreds of years together with that guy, and the other guy doesn't remember anything and always replaying the same things like, I think I remember something. Let's go there. Okay. And then I hit you on the head. Okay. I really, the history behind it and everything, I love it. Yeah. So, but there are so many great ones. But I think I go now with Ikari Mappo.
Yeah, I mean, you must have read this on the sub, isn't it? Like people say that when you're reading the first time, you are like Ikarium because you really don't know what is happening. And it's the second time it hits you when you're like Mappo and you know exactly how much they are going through, isn't it? Mappo is just heartbreaking. And then, it just gets sadder and sadder once you know what's happening with him.
Poor Mappo.
Poor Mappo. True.
Poor Mappo.
Lee?
Okay, this is supposed to be a lighthearted episode, but I don't have any lighthearted duos. So, out of all the ones you guys picked, because you didn't leave any of the good ones for me, my favorite one is easily from the ones that are left, Sir Domin and Spinnock, whom, if you actually know about anything about me, I've written extensively about them. And Sin and Grub, who I've also written extensively about, but Sin and Grub are not a comedic duo in any sense of the word. Sir Domin and Spinnock feel, there's a sense of brotherhood, of immense loss being complemented by one another. And I don't know, it just feels so, because they both appear in like one book. We don't see Spinnock before Till the Hounds. We see Sir Domin like 2 scenes in Memories of His Talk. And in one book, I care so much about these two. I love these two. And it's just like, all right, fuck you, Steve. Okay.
We just had one thing to do today, Lee. Not get into any heavy stuff.
Sorry. From comedic duos, I don't know. God damn it! You guys picked all the good ones. Well, no, Guess
There
and
is
Stormy
one.
probably.
Don't tell me one. Sorry, who?
I'd probably pick Guess and Stormy if I had to pick a comedic duo because I love the banter between the two.
Yeah. They're amazing. Yeah. You know what you guys have left out? You left out Picker and Blend, who is like,
Okay,
I don't know.
fine.
They're perfect. As much as we love Quickburn and Kalam, who are like more in the face, these two are so under the surface. You barely notice how much of a great
They blend in.
they blend. Yeah. Oh, it was that heartbreaking. Like we have spoken about this before, but each time she says blend and she replies with here, and there's that one time when there is no reply, and it just shatters me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their story is continued in novels by S. L. Mond. So,
Yep.
I mean, in Orb Separate Throne, we briefly see them, and I really like it. I like how the continuity of the couple is there. So they are my favorite duo. Yeah, but I think a close second would be Taylorist and Curdle. Do you guys like that type of humor? Because I just laugh at each time they appear on page. Um, they're as absurd as Puss talking to himself and all that. Like, don't tell her we are going to grab her eyeballs. No, that
Do Past and Mule count as a duo?
who?
Past and the
Past
Mule?
is mule.
Do they count as a duo?
Probably, yeah. We should ideally make them a duo. Yeah,
Crap on his
mule is
pastries.
Crap on his pastries is a duo. Um. So, what do you think is like your funniest scene throughout? Like, what made you laugh? Do you remember like one scene which just made you chuckle out loud? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, I think mine is I can't remember the names, but it's the group that Teho hires to. It's the women, and he meets with them at breakfast or whatever.
Shand,
Yes,
Shand,
yes.
and all those three. Yeah.
And that whole scene is gold, like the banter between him, Bug, and then them.
Yeah.
But then the part that really got me is like Teho gets like an erection, and Bug like points it out. And that's just how the scene ends. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, that whole the brothel scene, isn't it? Which is decorated with boobs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't stay too long, master, or something. Yeah. Try. Do you have a funny scene?
I mean,
What made you
there's a
laugh?
lot to pick from. I think my number one favorite comedy moment has to be Taeho's letter. It's just so good. And of course, he doesn't let you like let the comedy last. He has to like bring it down a bit at the end. But the letter itself is just like I was laughing through that whole bit. Also, if we're talking about comedy, I know I'm not going to say anything specific, so I'll just say the entirety of Crackpot Trail is just some of the funniest one of the funniest things I've ever read. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Brunian.
Yeah, I had to laugh so much during these books, and that's amazing because everybody knows Erickson or the Malazan books for being like this dark, depressing story. But there's so many moments I had to laugh out loud. It was amazing. But one moment stuck in my mind because this was the moment I typed a whole page or 2 pages, I don't remember exactly, in ICQ back in the day to send it to a friend who didn't read the series, who didn't have any idea about what I was talking. And it was Boat Hunters again. And it was a scene where Hellion swims through the water to the harbor and Aris banisher. This scene, it had me. I was crying. I had tears in my eyes. It was so. I was loving so much. And I had to talk to someone, and I didn't know anybody else who read the series so far. So I typed it to a good friend of mine, but he didn't find it as funny because he missed all the context, of course. Yeah, but I spent like 15 minutes or 10 minutes to typing it off, and I don't know. But yeah, that scene, I found it so funny. That was so great. Yeah, that's my favorite comedy scene.
Okay. Lee, do you have something?
So the one that comes to mind immediately is in the Bone Hunters again, in the Imperial Warren. Kalam is hanging off of a skykeep. And then he just like tugs Cotillions around like, God damn it, I don't like this warren. He turns around and there hangs Cotillion with like an apple. He takes a bite, chews, swallows. Kalam's like, do you think this is funny? Somewhat. And then there's a whole exchange, like a page is worth. So like, I'm gonna bring you down. It's like, just hang on. And eventually, because Kalam is like a big burly dude, Cotillion brings him down like with a bit of effort. And he's like, easy is a relative term, you ox. Please hold still. And just the entire exchange is fucking awesome. Like, and it ends awesomely because they find Stormy and Quick unconscious, and it's like, oh wait, that's Stormy, like big haired, big faced, always grumpy, vulgar as fuck. Yeah, that guy. Just get me down. So yeah.
Do you remember how that scene ends? Like, do you remember how Kalam wakes up Quickman? Because
Slaps him in the face, because of course he does.
and then he wakes up and he says, "Your jaw is swollen. Maybe it got hurt when you fell or something." That was very funny. No, but I don't know. I'm going to pick again from Bone Hunters because I think this is Bone Hunters. I'm not very sure. Maybe it's Reaper's Gale. But when Hellion wakes up, it's Reaper's Gale. Sorry. After the beak thing is over, and Hellion wakes up, and everyone has white hair suddenly, and she she just goes through this whole process of not understanding what's going on and why have everyone painted their hair white. What is so funny about painting your hair white or something? I think that was extremely funny because the whole beak thing was so emotional, and then at the end of it you get a drunk woman waking up and not understanding what's going on. I think that made me laugh a lot. But but yeah, most of the whole stuff is funny. Like, so I have very silly questions now. So I hope you're all ready for that. Okay, we've seen most of Erickson's interviews, and we know how exactly he pronounces all these words and stuff. So which word do you think he's got it wrong? Like, he's dead wrong. There's no way this is going to be pronounced the way he means it. Is there anything like that which you're not going to change?
Teist. I hate Teist.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. But I've started saying Teist because I don't know. I think maybe he means it. So I don't know. I've started saying Teist, but I don't like it. I agree. Anything else like that stood out to you? Did you guys say Malazan or Malazan?
It changes really. Like, I'll switch between Malazan and Malazan. It really depends. The one thing I cannot get over, that it literally hurts my ears when I hear it, is the Teist and I thing. It's when I read it as Teist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But ever since I've heard him say Teist, it hurts my ears. Like, just make it a Y, man. Just make it a Y if it's Teist. Like, just phonetically, it doesn't sound like that. I don't know. It bothers me so much.
He says he added the E just to make the I sound, like to make it the Teist. That's why he added the E, something like that. He tried to justify it, but yeah, he's got it wrong.
No,
so, I think...
I'm sorry, Erickson, but you're wrong.
Yeah. Anything else that stood out to you guys? Any other word?
So I'm German, so I'm kind of happy to pronounce things more or less correctly. I'm not really involved in the whole pronunciation discussions, but I know there are people really upset about it, and also because of the audiobooks and people changing it, and so I say Malazan, I think.
Okay.
Because for me, an A is an A. But yeah, I am happy with it. And Teist, I know it's not Teist for me, but I think I don't care much, so I'm good with it.
No, I don't stress any syllable. Like, with my accent, usually I don't pick either Malazan or Malazan. It doesn't make a difference because I just say everything in the same way. Like Malazan.
You stress every syllable. Smart.
No, it's like that was a very new thing. I found out as an adult that English pronunciations have something called a stress on syllables, which that's not something in my languages. So Teist, I agree, and I think Silkus, I don't like it. It's Silchas ruin is what I've been saying.
Whenever I hear Silkas, all I can think is Silk Ass Prince of a Laughing Cock from the Crippled God, and I just think, okay, this got really weird really quickly.
Silkus, I don't like that. But Teist, I've been saying Tiste Andy is, when I was reading it, I used to think of it as Tiste Andy or something. Is there any other words?
But like Tiste Andy, it just flows at the tongue.
Yeah, it sounds. Maybe we should ask
and
Simon.
Teist Andy doesn't.
We should ask Esselmont if he agreed to this pronunciation or did Ericsson just come on his own.
Did you sign off on this?
Yeah. No, but most of the other things, I think we more or less have it right, isn't it? All the other usual names. Duiker, do you think he says Duiker something weird? Because
You know, I've always read that weirdly enough because I'm not Dutch. But I've always read that with the sort of Dutch accent because it's I believe it's originally a Dutch word. So I've always
Yeah.
said it like Duiker.
okay, yeah, it's I think an Afrikaans, so must be a Dutch origin word, isn't it?
Yeah, probably something like that.
So, okay, we know all these drinks and drugs and stuff like that, which we see in Malazan. All your henbaras and durhangs and I don't know, Malazan dark and things like that. Which one do you want to try the most? Like, what are you curious to try?
I want to try some of that god honey. That's what I want to try.
The
I'm
only
trying
right
to-
answer.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get into the durhang, which is just opium. Like,
Yeah.
not trying to get into that. I already drink enough alcohol. I don't need any more of that. I want to talk to a god. That's what I want to do. I want to trip until I talk to a god.
Oh, that's a great answer. Yeah. What do you want to do? Try?
The god honey sounds a bit intense. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'd probably just stick to Durhang
Yeah.
as the sort of like weed analog.
Do you guys know that there is something called mad honey? Like when I was doing the summaries for bone hunters,
Yeah.
and turns out that there is something called because those bees, I think they make the honey during the flowering season of those particular flowers, and so that is some psychotropic honey which is being sold. So that was interesting. So Wes, it's possible in the real world.
I
You don't
gotta
have
get
to
my
like.
hands on it.
Yeah, Bologna, do you have something you want to try?
Yeah, some medicine wine. I would be interested in that because I'm not interested in the beer because we have German beer and nothing's better than German beer. But the wine, I would be curious about how good the wine is.
Try
Any particular? Yeah.
try an 1100 Paran vintage.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we get so many names of all those things, isn't it? Like Grecian wine and Gredfallen ale. That's the one which, that's the name which keeps coming up over and over. Yeah. What about you, Lee?
Oh boy. So I'm pretty sure some Trigal stripment had some form of fortified spirits at some point. I don't remember when or where. Say for that, there's like the aforementioned Red Fallen Ale. There's Kenny's Red. There's Coop's Dark, which tastes like ass apparently, but I want to taste that because why not? And I don't know. From drugs, I wouldn't really try anything because most of that sounds like, except for maybe Rust Leaf, because that's the weed equivalent, I guess.
No, rust leaf is, I think, tobacco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, yes, right. Hang on.
Durhang is the weed.
I don't know if
I
I'd
don't know
try
what is
anything.
dabaying though. I don't know. That's some form of opium.
Isn't that opium? It's a
Probably,
bit
yeah.
like opium, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's made from poppies, yeah. So, yeah. The buying is open. Anyway, I probably wouldn't try any drugs, is what I'm getting at before I get into more trouble.
Stay in school, kids.
No, I think of all of them because this is hypothetical. I would want to try the Henbara tea, which Heboric has, to see all the visions of the jade giants and stuff like that. I don't know. And I don't know that whole scene just blew my mind when I read it. To see all these cosmic things happening and things like that, and it was just just a tea. Like I don't know, that must be something like an acid trip or something. I'm not sure what's the real world equivalent of that.
I think it's supposed to be like equivalent to like DMT or something, because like I don't, all the like psychotropic stuff is so like personalized as an experience, but like typically you're not going to have super crazy like experiences like Hebrick does on like LSD or something, right? That's like DMT. That's like you're going to go into a different dimension for a couple minutes, but yeah. So I think it's supposed to be an equivalent of like an extremely like psychotropic drug like DMT.
Okay, I tried asking Ericsson that, and he He didn't really give me like a solid answer. So
Classic.
yeah. Right. So we see all these pets and all the animal characters we see. Which one is your favorite? Like your favorite pet or familiar or any non-human, human equivalent creatures. If anyone is thinking, maybe Lee can go first. Do you have something?
So number 1 would be Gumball, the frog,
Okay, yeah, the
and
critic
number
frog.
2 would be Creature from The Ghost No Willing.
Oh no, don't bring that in here.
Gumball is just like the most absurd metaphor for critics I've ever seen.
That's because you know why? You know why? Because you've not read Crackpot Trail.
Okay, I've never covered the trail. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
When you think about it, Gumball might be the part about Malazan that makes the least sense, like within the lore, but somehow it's still, you just accept it and move on.
Yeah. I was just reading that chapter this week, when he says, I know what you're going to paint in honor of Dujek. It's just going to be these 3 scenes. One outside
You
coral,
checked my
one
notes,
outside
damn
play.
you!
Because they're so predictable, isn't it? Like when you want to portray a hero or someone, these are the things you just fall back into. So yeah, Gumball is a great answer. I think you can go, Wes.
I was gonna say it would be pretty tight to be best friends with a dragon. That'd be pretty tight. But I think I can't remember its name. But Baruch's like weird flying
Chillbase.
monkey. Yes.
Chillbase.
Yeah. He's just so goofy.
Yeah. We see Chillbase in Orbs Up to Throne too, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same guy. Yeah. Like I'm not sure whether it's like a Bokarala, but it's a demon. Because
It's a
I was
demon,
under the
yes.
impression.
Yeah.
It's not a Bokarala, right? You guys try?
So I really like dogs, so Bent or Roach would be my answer, even though Bent is a bit much probably, but he's loyal. He's very loyal. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go with them. They obviously they come as a pair.
Yeah.
You, Boronian?
I'm not sure it's an animal, but I will say the mule. Maybe it's a god. You don't know.
Yeah. The predominant theory is it's actually Shadow Throne because it makes camp for Bust. Like Bust turns around, doesn't make camp for me, and like he turns around, has some dialogue with Magora, turns around, like a camp is ready.
Mm-hmm.
It does the same with loading ships and all that. The mule is a very helpful one to have around. Yeah, that's a great pick. I you know what? Because I don't know, we are all stuck with bone hunters in this episode, so I'm going to say Grey Frog because there is something about a demon who is just so much in love with Skilara, and that's such a flirty demon he is, and I don't know. I just have a soft spot for someone like Grey Frog, so that would be someone fun to hang out with. Right. So, any other pets or animals? How come none of us brought up Tufty? Tufty, isn't it? That's the
Because
name here.
Tufty's dead.
No, but dead doesn't make him, any less of as a good boy,
I don't disagree, but
Yeah.
Listen,
But I'm
hanging out
allergic
with
to
Race
cats,
is
so-
a tough job.
Oh.
So,
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Wes.
oh, I just said, listen, hanging out with Race is a tough job.
Yeah,
you
that it
can't.
is.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay alive and do that.
I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Tufty.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
Speaking of race, like I was just wondering, on my first time, like I think till quite recently, I did not pick up that he was also Gothos' son. I thought only Ikiriam is Gothos' son. So anything like that which you guys missed out on your first read or even your second read, and which you found out from other people and
Wait, I'm sorry. Who is the god of the sun?
Raised.
raised?
He is Garium's half brother.
Huh. Well, I just found that out.
Yeah, I thought. Hold on. I'm going to call contention on that one because I thought in this is exegetic. This is Carcanus,
No
but
problem.
I thought in Forge they mentioned that he's Gothos' brother, not Icarium's. I thought he was Icarium's uncle. No?
I mean, I don't know about Forge of Darkness right now, but in the main series, it's
Gethol.
mentioned that he's the son. He's the son of Gothos. I'm pretty sure on
Okay.
that. So like,
No, because
yeah.
I calculated that Gethol is Icarium's uncle. So I don't think I
Oh yeah,
removed him
yeah,
from the raised position. Yeah. So, okay, try. Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm really bad at keeping the family tree straight.
I mean,
Oh God. Yeah.
yeah. That. Any such things? Any such tiny lore which you guys missed out? Like raised. I had no idea who was foreigner. Like I just assumed that was another name for traveler. So
yeah. I think the one that I didn't pick up on uh, initially was I didn't realize like that the Cowler we see in um,
memories of
uh,
ice.
Memories of Ice. Yeah, I didn't realize until like way later, which is just me just not reading closely at all. Is the one who caused the fall basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
all
mean,
comes back to that guy. All comes back.
I still shaking his head about that.
I never picked up that too. Like, I did not know that Kalar was such a tyrant that they had to bring down the cripple god just for his sake. That I think that was a second read information for me. I had no idea that was going on.
Yeah, that and the his old empire being the Imperial Warren was something that took me like a super 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 long time to pick up on.
But did you figure that out on your own? Because I just read the subreddit discussions. Most of this stuff, I don't think I sat and figured some things out. So,
Hmm. I pieced it together after like a really long time,
mhm.
because it's just like constantly like covered in ash and like raining ash and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. But it took a really long time.
There is a scene where they see a palace, like a submerged palace, submerged in ash. Isn't it? I don't know.
It's that has
Memories of
gates.
Ice? Okay.
Kalam and Keneb and the boys in the Imperial Warren, and he finds Kalor's sigil on one of the buildings.
Yeah. Yeah, there are hints, but you have no idea what you're looking at until you finish the series and come back.
hmm
Well, anything like that, try? Oh, okay. I think try. I think we have covered.
Yeah, if anyone
Uh,
hasn't,
yeah,
totally try.
already have my answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Lee,
no,
you were saying something?
like it's been so
No.
long since I first read the books, and I've read them so many times in
Yeah.
between. Like I can't really remember any specific revelations that I got on like subsequent reads. So yeah, I don't know.
Yes, Borodin, you have something?
It's the same for me. I read it such a long time ago, and I know for a fact that a lot of things I missed because I remember the feeling when I said, "Oh, yes, really," but I don't remember which ones it was. Or it has been too long. But I know that on the second read, a lot of the details suddenly made more sense.
Yeah.
A lot of things I was missing before, but I just don't remember which ones because it has been so many years. And now everything is just in my mind, like one big, map of the whole series.
Like I agree because like I remember the feeling of my second read, which was like everything suddenly started to click, but I don't remember any specifics.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like
that makes
the sort of
sense.
general.
Yes, it's exactly like that. Yes.
Do you guys remember in
I mean, I didn't understand. I didn't understand the ending of the book at the first time. That how the cripple how the crippled god became suddenly the good, not a good guy, but how it took me a long time and some Reddit posts to understand how the bone hunters, through their being kind of tortured themselves, that they and they believe that how they changed the crippled god.
Mm,
And how they changed his behavior and his feelings because this relationship between God and followers, and how that made him suddenly a better person. Not suddenly, but made him a better person.
yeah.
So this was something which took me very long. Yes,
It,
for
it takes a
sure.
lot of people
It's
a
super
while.
difficult, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this is you've all seen this. Like, this is a very, very common question for new readers. Like, what the fuck happened at the end? But actually, that reminds me of I think this is a common one because I think almost everybody misses the reveal of the identities of Shadowthrone and Cotillion in Gardens of the Moon, because it's pretty much revealed. It's like, oh, the Emperor and his right hand man disappeared at that exact time, and like the day after, these two guys suddenly appeared, and who knows what could have happened? So mysterious, and somehow nobody gets it.
Well, and isn't the epigraph for that chapter about the Shadowthrone and Cotillion?
To be fair, it's the epigraph for the first chapter, so
Okay,
you don't really have
yeah.
the context for like everything that's happening, and it's a bit.
You don't know who the rope
Right,
is.
Yeah.
Why did they talk about the rope?
I mean,
What's up with this rope?
you don't know that the rope refers to a person at that point. It's just
Yeah.
But there are people who figure it out. Even our read along, the new readers bunch figured it out quite early.
Yeah.
I was so surprised.
If you're paying attention, you get it.
Yeah. Even the eel. I don't know. Did you guys get the eel reveal on your first read? I was happy to be surprised. You guys knew it?
It made sense when it was revealed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure anymore. Is it revealed when Crib is making?
It's when you might
Radic forget the thing. Was it before afterwards a reveal? At some point he comes to me. I know who you are, and then he makes him forget. Was that the reveal? Because I got it at that moment. If it was the reveal, then yes, I get it at the reveal. If it was, I think so. I think it was a reveal.
I remember Wes saying that he picked up Toblakai's reveal even before it happened on page. Isn't it? We've had this discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. The second that he had a big wooden sword, I was like, okay, this is Toblakai from Dead House.
Yeah. When I first on my first read, I had pretty much forgotten about Toblakai and Dead House Gates. So like it was cool to reveal like, oh hey, this is Leoman, this is the Whirlwind. Hey, let's do a rebellion or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like I had totally forgotten about that Toblakai was in Dead House Gates. So kind of on the second read, that was like, oh hey, he's here too.
Okay. Yeah. Lee, do you have something that you never got on your first read?
One thing I missed both times is Karsa apparently destroys the statue of Fenner in House of Chains, and I have missed. I knew I was looking for it, and I missed it again. So I have no idea what the fuck that is. And the second thing is Tyshren and Shadowthrone talk about like the Empire and the state of affairs at the end of the Bone Hunters, and Tyshren specifically mentions that the Wiccans have Temwall, and you shouldn't fear about them. If we should fear about something, fear for your own child. And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Is he talking about the Empire? Why would the fuck would Shadowthrone care about the Empire? And then chapter 24 of the Crippled God, and Tavor goes, I am a child of the Emperor. And I'm like, oh, I missed that completely. And then the second time around, I haven't gotten there yet, but I was like thinking about this. Oh, that's what he means. Oh. And it was a big aha moment, it's very nice. But I missed that. And I still have no idea where that quote about Karsa destroying a Fenner statue is in House of Chains. It's somewhere in book 1 of House of Chains. That's what I know.
It's
I don't know where exactly it is. Sure, yeah.
It's in Silver Lake. It's in Silver Lake when he escapes for like the nth time. And no, he gets this bloodwood.
It's like chapter 2 or something.
Yeah, he gets the armor and the bottle of blood oil and all that. And, he's just rampaging, and he has a small boar statue, and he just smashes it.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I've never figured out like why he smashes it. Is he just like but like what's his motivation? Like why he just sees the statue and is like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm gonna smash this.
Something like the Lowlander gods or something like that.
Gods, yeah.
Yeah, I think the motivation itself in the moment is kind of like it's not super well developed, but I think it's the reason why it's there is because Erikson. I think the end where Karsa like literally kills Fenner, like that is a moment that was in Erikson's head from like very early on, and so he wanted to foreshadow it so it didn't just come out of left field. So I think that's why that moment's there. Like I think the motivation
from Erikson's
like,
point of view, yes, but I guess it's Karsa. Like he just likes destroying stuff.
Yeah, but he was just rampaging, isn't it? Like, hi. The scene in Toll Hounds when Rake chops off Hood's head and Hood just goes, "Son of darkness, I have
I have
reconsidered."
reconsidered.
I did not get that that was a joke. I was so shocked. I thought Rake is just, he was just in a hurry to cut this guy's head. Poor thing. He had something, to tell him, and I had to discuss with my friend, and he told me that's the way jagged humor works. It's that
And there's
dry.
a quote in like the Crippled God where Hood goes to like shirk a lal. I have recently learned a lesson in brevity that I have taken to heart. I
Okay,
should just keep my mouth shut, or else I'll get my head chopped off again.
Dude, so this reminds me of another moment that is just hilarious in the books. It's Shadow Throne. I can't remember who he's talking to, but they're talking about lawyers, basically.
It's Hood and Men
Yeah,
and
advocate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says, they're talking about what they would do to lawyers, and Shadow Throne's like, yeah, I suggested executing all of them, and then my lawyer said that was a bad idea. That part always cracks me up.
Yeah, reminds me of that scene where Tehol is where Breeze is asking Tehol for a bigger
Reinforcements.
for reinforcements. Yeah.
Yeah, that cyclical dialogue, that type of downright silly humor, goofy humor. I don't know, that just makes me laugh each time. Like everyone asks, Briss, do you know? No, I don't know. So they just deferred back to Briss where it started, right?
Yeah, he asked Book and Shinnath, and they're neither of them know anything about military stuff.
Yeah. But do you guys notice all the tiny jokes in the dramatis? Like Erickson sneaks in these little things.
Yeah.
Like Krupp is a what do you call that, Lee?
A
Like
man of false modesty.
modesty. Yeah. And I don't know. Bug has.
Oh, I never read it.
Oh, you don't read the
I never read
dramatis?
the drama. No, I don't, because I think I know the people.
No, because I never read them too. Like maps and dramatis, I try not to spend time there because I want to get right to the story. But some of the dramatis, once I started paying attention. Like, do you know that Bug is entered thrice? I don't know, in Reaper's Gale or something. He's Bug the
Chancellor
Treasurer.
and like something else.
That's in
And Seda.
Dust of
He's a
Dreams.
Seda as well. Yeah.
Dust of Dreams, okay. Yeah. He has 3 entries. Yeah. I think you should look at the dramatis Borodian,
I will do so.
Toll the Hounds also has a really good dramatis personae.
Yeah, right. I think I'm sort of coming to the end of my questions. Right. So it's just one fine, Okay, you have your IRL skills and your personality and all that. If you had to go to Wu and, just survive there or just live there, which place would you pick, or what job would you do, or what do you think you want to do there? I think I can predict Wes's answer, but I'll let him tell.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know. Like, Wu is kind of like the universe of like Warhammer, where it's just like like horrifically violent constantly everywhere. I think if I was transported there and I had the choice of like what to do, I would just go off and exist in the woods somewhere and just write poetry or something, because I couldn't be a soldier. I would die instantly. I couldn't be somewhere outside of the Empire because, again, I would die instantly. So,
a life the gods wouldn't notice.
Right, yeah. A life the gods wouldn't notice. I just have to, find somewhere devoid of humanity and live there.
Wes, I was so sure that you were going to pick, being a barkeep somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
in one
I
of
don't
the
know.
taverns or something. No?
I've been a bartender enough in my life. I don't need to do it in another life.
Yeah, that makes sense. Try
It would
anything.
be cool to go hang out in Pearl, or in Black Pearl, though. That would be kind of cool, but that's because I'm a gigantic fan of the Teast and I.
Being a barkeep in Smiley's
Yeah, maybe.
with some demons.
Yeah. As long as I know that no one's going to try to assassinate me there, then we're good.
I mean, from what we know, like basically no one goes to Smiley's. It's just like a few demons.
Yeah.
Hitler is hanging out, and nobody goes there because nobody can find it.
Yeah.
But I would probably want to go I would probably want to be in Darujistan, probably.
Yeah,
Like
that's yeah.
that's probably the least awful place. It has its problems, but compared to most other places, I think they're pretty mild. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just like hang out there. Probably be like I don't know, a bard or something.
Mhm. No, that is the closest to like our civilization, isn't it? Like it's a proper city with proper houses and I
Yeah,
don't
kind
know,
of.
with a
Yeah.
government and things like that.
You could make that argument.
Baronian, what do you want to do?
I become a lawyer for a shuttle firm. I think they seem to have a lot of power.
Yeah, as long as it listens to you, yeah, you'll be safe.
Yeah, I think so. Me and my buddies setting up a system that we are top all the time.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Well, you, Lee, what do you want to do there?
I mean, we mentioned the barkeep with Smileys, but you remember who the barkeep with Smileys was, right? The server wench in Smileys?
I
No?
I don't
Really?
know. It's one of
Oh.
the demons. I don't know his name. Like,
No, not the demons, but when Smileys was still operational. The serving wench of Smileys, you know?
The scene.
fine. Oh God, yeah.
The
yeah,
serving
yeah.
wench of Smileys.
Oh
yeah,
God, yeah.
Other than that, I think the Empire would be pretty awful right now. Like in the Book of the Fallen, after the Crippled God. I can't think of anything. I think under Tichel, the only Leatherass would be pretty nice, or Georgistan, as aforementioned. But I don't know. I'll have to pick like Barkeep and Smileys because Fiddler playing songs and would be pretty nice. Yeah.
No, I'll probably join some army as a cutter. That's what I would do.
Really?
Because I don't have high denule, but oh yeah, the war medics are always the safest ones. So
I mean, like in Death's case, like we see them like having their arms just spontaneously snap because they've been like using too much Tenul. Like I don't know.
No, I'm not saying the mundane healers, the mundane cutters. That's what I mean. Not the healers, not the denule people. Because I don't know, I can't access magic, so I'll be happy to do the grunt work. I don't know.
Excuses.
Yeah, I feel like easily the two worst places in Wu, or on Wu, I should say, are Letheris and probably like deep in the Empire. Just the way Erickson, especially Letheris, just being like a capitalist hellscape nightmare. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Yeah, we get enough of it here.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I think Wes has a nice answer, like go in the woods and write poetry.
Yeah.
I just tried to evade death no matter what, which is hard enough in this world, let alone the world of Malazan.
Yeah. Borodin, you said you have some notes or something. Do you have anything to bring up? Because we can start winding up now.
No, I was just we talked about everything except a favorite character in general. I mean, we talked about favorite duo, favorite scenes, favorite book, but not favorite characters. So this was the only one
Yeah, do you want to tell me your favorite character? You have just one?
Well, it's super boring for me. I'm sorry, but it's Fiddler.
That's yeah.
I mean, that's just the
It's
correct
just the
answer.
one character. Yeah, it's the one character in the book which is like just your kind of your normal guy, Yeah, it's just getting calm, getting through everything, and doing a lot, helping a lot of people, but by not having some magical superpower. I mean, he has some talent, of course. We don't want to deny that, and he's really good at it. I mean, his readings and also his playing the fiddle and everything. I mean, there's something there, but he's still just a normal guy. I mean, the most normal guy we kind of have. Yeah.
Yeah. Fiddler is quite a fan favorite, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something, Wes?
Contained within just the 10 with no context outside of them, my favorite character is it has to be Tehol. I love when like Erickson explores comedy like that blatantly, because a lot of Tehol's stuff is just blatantly comedic, but Erickson also like uses Tehol to like, and again, this is my personal opinion, but he goes through like a full-on like Marxist critique of Letheri's society with Tehol. and it's just really interesting because that's generally not something we see a lot in fantasy, like general like political critique of a place. And so I really like Tehol for that, but with the full context of the outside books, my absolute favorite character is Anomander Rake, which is boring. Everybody loves Rake, but he's just everything about his story is just like so tragic and sad, and it just flavors everything he does in the books in such a different way once you have the full context of like his arc as a person.
Yeah. Try?
I mean, Baronian said it. I love Fiddler. He's just like he gets all the best bits. He like the scene where he's playing the fiddle in the Bone Hunters is my number one favorite scene in the books. And like he gets like several like monologues that are just like absolute perfection. I think Fiddler is, and like just he's just like he's so compassionate and so human despite everything he's gone through. I love Fiddler.
Yuli? Please don't tell Lassine. Say anyone else.
If anyone's gonna say Lassine is Lee.
Yeah. No. Among the lesser known characters, because obviously if I had to pick one of them, it would probably be Fiddler as well, but that's lame. Among the lesser known ones, one of my top ones that I've not mentioned before, because I could mention Kovian, but that's lame, is Janath, actually, because I love witty characters, and Janath matches Tehol's wit really nicely and brings about the best in him. Because Tehol in Midnight Tide is like kind of whatever. He's like Bug is his yes man, right? He banters with Bug. He doesn't discuss with Bug. Janath challenges him intellectually, and their banter together, their chemistry together is really nicely written. And there is one scene, for instance, where Janath basically goes, "If you're going to destroy the whole economic system and take blame for it, well, someone has to." And that's when Tehol's plan's unveiled fully, and you see exactly why he's doing it and what he means by it, rather than just, "Oh yeah, we're gonna ruin the thing. Behold, gentlemen, the poor." And it's more serious. Janath brings out a more serious side in Tehol that I really like, but she's also has some of the most hilarious scenes with Tehol that I know of. Her scenes in Dust of Dreams where like Tehol and Bug are trying to avoid her, and Aberstal, I think it was, because who can understand women, and like they both know exactly what's going on. Both parties know exactly what each other means, but they're pretending they don't. I like Janath a lot because she's one of the better written, seriously taken characters from a female characters in Stephen's books. The other one, oh boy, well, I mentioned it, Kobe. We mentioned Fiddler, Rake, sure, fine. I can't mention Lassine because that's illegal apparently. God, I don't know. Shit. I don't know, actually. Yeah, I'll just settle for Janath for now. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Janath's good.
No, I don't know. I think you all know that my favorite is Karsa. It's just that one scene in Cripple God. I don't know. You can tell me any number of things he's done so far, but that one scene with Munug, I don't know. It just it's something. It's like, it's not just that I read it. It was something that just hit me, and I still can't get over that one scene. So it's Karsa. It's not going to change. I don't know. So I know all you guys who picked the male characters. Do you want to just tell me your favorite female characters too? Because this series has so many good ones. Like, yeah,
I think my favorite female character, even though we don't see a lot of her, is Corlot. There's just something like it's the same thing because I also like grew up on Lord of the Rings. I really love Lord of the Rings a lot. Tolkien's work is really close to my heart, and so Corlot really reminds me of both
Luthien?
Arwen and Luthien. Yeah. And there's just something so like heartbreaking and tragic about her story, and also just so like deeply like relatable and beautiful. And all the scenes that we do get with her are really just beautifully written.
You guys try.
So I'm trying to pick between Picker or or Absalar.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
think you took Lee's answer.
I think I'll
Choose
go with.
picker.
Why? Because you're going to say Absalar.
Yes, exactly. She's my number 2 character, all in all. Number 2 favorite.
Yeah, I'll go with Picker. She's just great. Like I love them. I love them both. But yeah, Picker and honestly like blend as well. Like they and their relationship is just like so like it's even hard to like pick out anything specific. It's just like she feels like a person and
Yeah.
someone that could exist. So yeah, that's why I like Picker. Also, she's funny.
I think Picker, she's great. She's also a very down to the earth person, type of person, and getting through it, and always having these self jobs about her being like a job, and if she's good enough, and she's just doing well, but like a normal person. That's something I really enjoy about it too. But my pick is my number 2 favorites character pick also. Absolutely. It's just the way she develops. She started this super naive, not knowing anything fisher girl, being possessed by some god, and having no clue, and then developing in her own person. And that last part of her journey is done so wonderful and so great. And then the way she struggles with her relationship with Cutter, or I mean Crocus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, I love it. I just love that, and how she also becomes this strong, very strong character. She starts from this fisher girl. I mean, we have that often in fantasy books, that we have this like this young person being like Lord of the Rings started with like this little hobbit having no idea what's about the world, and then becoming the hero of the story. But in this case, it was done differently, and that's what I enjoyed so much. And she wasn't the main character of the series. Not like, oh wow, we have Absalom. She started in book 1, and now she's the main character, and she will kill the crippled god and the bad guy in the end or something like that. No, she developed in a person who said, I want to have my life back, or some kind of life. Who am I, and stuff. And so this is, once again, Erickson subverted some trope there, and he did it in a wonderful way. I love it, and that's why she's my top 3, of course, and my top female character.
Yeah, that's great. I think Lee already picked Janath.
I
So
did
do you
pick
want to
Shanath.
say?
So for male characters, I'm pretty partial to Fisher. I really like Fisher.
Fisher. Okay. Okay.
She only ever stole the hounds in the Book of the Fallen, but just, I mean, a bard that can also kick ass. Yes, please sign me up.
Yeah, but does he really kick ass and told the hounds? Like apart
beats
from
the
being
shit out of
enemies?
people, and then I think it's who does. I remember Fisher just walks up to somebody and just like blackmails him, like Glenn does to Humble later. Fisher just like walks up to someone and leave us the fuck alone, and so it's my jam. I really like that. I don't know.
I don't know. Because we are keeping this light. One of the female characters whom I really enjoy is Scylla. She just feels extremely, extremely relatable to me. Like all the things she goes through and all these thoughts she has, and I don't know. There was not one point at which I thought, maybe she's not behaving like what I would expect someone in her position to behave. Like everything was just perfect about her, and that was perfect. Her whole story was, I don't know. I'm biased obviously because I saw more of her in the novels of the Empire, but Scylla just stays with me. If you're not talking lighthearted, I would pick probably the Maib, because you just see someone. She's such a use and throw character, isn't it? You just see her. She gives birth to the main hero, the one who's going to move the story forward, and then no other author would just pick her, isn't it? Like she would just be thrown by the wayside, and then we have so much of her story, and so much of that is explored, and that really I mean, I was deep into the series by then, but when we saw that Memories of Ice is going to pick up her story and keep continuing, it just made the whole series like extra special for me. Like there are no like expendable characters. That's the way I felt when we saw that the Maib is being picked up. So that was
Yeah, that, and I mean, it's just a perspective you never get in fantasy, especially, but like even outside of fantasy, there's not many books that I can think of that would take the perspective of, a mother who like has basically like postpartum depression and like hates her child to a certain extent, like, and it's just such an interesting perspective to take. And it is, like just so human. Like, and we keep talking about this with Erickson's writing, but he is just extremely good at just tapping into these very particular emotional states of people and just really exploring them, and really making you understand on like a deeply personal level somebody who like kind of does hate their child, and you like understand their relationship and why she would feel that way. I don't know. It's the vibe stands out to me as a character that like, I don't think many writers would even like try to attempt it.
Yeah. So yeah, we sort of keep seeing the same thing, isn't it? Through all 10 books, the same theme of being compassionate to someone, in spite of everything they're doing, in spite of it, you just make sure that you give them that generosity of, seeing their point of view, right? So it's been like 90 minutes. Should we should we start winding up? Do you want to take the last question about the favorite quotes and all?
Should I start off my favorite? I don't know, actually.
Okay.
There's
Okay. No, I'll go because I don't have an answer. So let me just.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do you guys want to tell me, like, just your absolute favorite quote among all the 10 books? Anything which,
Yeah. So ironically, I keep this is really nerdy, but I keep a Google Doc of every book that I've ever read, and then I'll put like a quote that really grabbed me from that book. And then usually, because I listen to music a lot when I read too, so I'll also attach like the album that I was listening to at that time for that particular book. And my hands down favorite quote out of the series, let me see where it's at here. It comes out of Told the Hounds, obviously. And it's I don't ever mark down like the exact page number where it came out of, but it's when one can possess loyalty even in the straits of full brutal understanding, then that one understands all there is to understand about compassion. And that is, I mean, one, that just sums up the entire series, and two, it is just such a short, beautiful little like statement to make. That's a quote that is really, really close to my heart for Malazan.
Try.
I mean, this is a really, really, really difficult question. As I'm sure you guys know, when I did my second reread, my third total read, I picked out quite a few quotes and dumped them all over the subreddit as I read.
Yeah.
So picking just one is absolutely impossible. But one that I think has always been, that I've always really liked, not because of how philosophical it is. I guess it is kind of, but it's from Told the Hounds, and it's the soul knows no greater anguish than to take a breath that begins with love and ends with grief. It's just like that line just like hits like a truck. I could literally pick out like 100 other quotes, and I think that's lowballing it. But yeah, I'll go with that one.
Okay. You, Volodya?
Try Your Choice was a really, really good one.
Yeah.
This was one I had in mind too, but I chose a different one for this question. It's from Deadhouse Gates. It's children are dying. I'm a teacher and I'm a historian, so I studied history, let's say it that way. And so both things he expressed or combined in this quote is just speaking to me. That's a succinct summary of humankind, I would say. Who needs tomes and volumes of history? Children are dying. The injustices of the world hide in those 3 words. And that's so true. And I love it for that. But it's also expressed very well the whole tone of the book. Yeah.
I think when I read that, the children are dying thing, do you guys remember? Oh, this is very heavy for the podcast theme we wanted to keep, but that just hit me so much, because I think the refugee crisis was going on, the Syrian refugees and all. I'm sure you have the image of this, the drowned boy, which I don't know. It just shattered me when I read that children are dying, because that's so perfect. That so perfectly tells you what That's all the injustice you need to know, really. Yeah, sorry. I think we should. Lee, do you have something, emotional or funny? Please, please save us.
I have like 10 different quotes. I could go literally all of the hounds here. My favorite quote from all the hounds, like two of them would be, one would be, no tyrant can thrive in a land where every subject says no. The tyrant thrives when the first fucking fool salutes, which is just, I love that quote.
Yeah.
The other one would be, it is the curse of believers to second guess those who they choose to worship. In your silence, what choice do they have? Every choice in the world, my friend.
Yeah.
And the third quote I have is from The Crippled God, chapter 11. It goes somewhat like, the historians will compose a book of the fallen. They will overturn every stone looking for hints of ambition, and in so doing, they will miss the whole fucking point. Fallen one, we're all your children. Which I get, this isn't like funny or emotional, but like these are the quotes that stuck with me for a while. Like, especially the first one, I wrote a whole essay because of that one quote. So, like, I love that quote. I love the Tyrant quote a lot. It's just... So, from funny quotes, I don't really have anything, except the Cotillion scene I mentioned earlier, the Bone Hunters, that would like the apple chewing and the somewhat, that is the funny quote I have for today. But Malazan isn't really a treasure gold mine of like funny quotes. There's a lot of comedy, but it's not like you can quote it and it makes sense in all contexts.
I don't know. There is one thing which makes sense, which makes everyone laugh in context, like without context. The I'd kill the mule.
Yeah, I tell him, okay, yeah.
I don't know why everyone just loses
the
it
mule,
because
yeah.
yeah. I think the one which I personally like is the one with Itkovian. Compassion is truly priceless, because that's somewhat something which makes me think about every day. Like I try to think about that. Like when I'm feeling uncharitable, like I try to remind myself that this is it's compassion. Like who am I to judge people and be less than compassionate to anyone? So that stays with me. Itkovian's quote, right? So I think we've got full from light to quite dark at the end here.
Yeah.
So, right. So, do you guys have anything else you want to bring up, or?
I will just say, since you mentioned Ikovian, that is another one of my favorite quotes. Is the one he repeats again and again over the course of Memories of Ice. Yeah, I'm not yet done. That is gotten me through some stuff. As somebody, again, bringing the mood down a little bit, but as somebody who suffers from like severe depression and anxiety, that is a quote that truly is like really helped me through some stuff. So that Ikovian quote is one of my favorites for sure throughout the entire series.
Like, I think we just proved today that it's impossible to discuss Malazan and not get emotional.
I mean, it's just... It's that kind of series,
we tried. I mean, we tried our best.
Yeah. A light discussion on Malazan is a bit of an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's like oh, hey, let's tell some jokes about Berserk for 3 hours. It's a fraught endeavor.
So thank you all. Thank you guys so much for coming. Do you guys want to say an individual goodbye and then we can wind up? Yeah,
well, again, thanks for putting this together. This was a ton of fun. I'm always down to do something like this again. Yeah, thank you.
Provided your schedule allows,
Right, yeah. I'm 5 hours behind. And, yeah.
Oh, no. It's like you're just packed, isn't it? Your schedule is usually packed. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit better for like the next 6 months. I don't have as many classes and stuff, so it's a little bit better. But yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. This was a ton of fun. I would love to do something like this again at some point. Again, if schedules allow.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having us.
Moronian?
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the time here, and I will look forward to the next time we come together.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon. It has been a blast, Trent. Thank you very much. Here's hoping to next time being soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Lee. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maura. Thank you, everybody.
So,
I believe we'll keep this, some brevity. So good night. See you later. And fare you well.
and next time maybe we can have more fun and talk about the
That is
historical and
ideally.
philosophical aspects of
Yeah.
imperialism.
Woo!
Sure.
Woo! Yeah, all right. Till next time. Thank you, gents.
Bye bye.
Farewell.
Bye.